All right, let's dive into AI agents. They're everywhere now, and they can act on their own, making decisions without us humans.
It really does feel like they're everywhere you look now.
So the big question we're thinking about today is, are we really ready to let these superpowered AI assistants run our lives?
It's a question that gets more and more relevant every day. I mean, think about it. We already rely on AI for a lot. Recommendations, navigation, you name it.
Yeah, sure.
But AI agents go a step further. They're designed to act on our behalf, to anticipate our needs, you know?
Exactly, and that's what makes this so interesting. We've got this research from iScience journal, and it looks at driving with an AI assistant.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, kind of like those lane departure warnings, just way more advanced. But what
Yeah.
they found about how people see responsibility is pretty interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
So, what did they find?
Well, tell us about the study.
Okay, sure. The study looks at two different types of AI assistants. One that gives instructions by voice, like a co-pilot, and another that uses haptic feedback, so vibrations in the steering wheel, to guide the driver.
Oh, cool. So
Yeah.
like one talks to you and the other one kind of nudges you in the right direction.
Exactly.
Neat. So what'd they find?
Well, they wanted to see if the way the AI communicated would change how people judged who was responsible when something goes wrong.
Oh, that's a good question. Like, do you blame the AI or the driver?
Right. And you'd think it would make a difference, right?
I would, yeah.
But here's the thing. People generally shared responsibility
Hmm.
between the driver and the AI, no matter how it communicated.
Wait, really? So even though the AI was just a tool, people still felt like it was partly to blame if something happened.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, that's kind of unnerving.
It is a little bit, yeah. And it raises questions like, why are we so quick to share responsibility with a machine even when it's just helping?
That's a really good question. It's like, are we giving these AI systems more credit than they deserve?
Hmm.
Like more power in our minds?
Right. It's almost like we're already mentally giving them more agency than they actually have.
It's almost like, I don't know, like we're wired to see patterns and intentions even when they aren't really there.
Yeah.
Like we want to believe that there's a thinking being behind the scenes, so to speak. But as AI gets more advanced, that could be a problem.
It definitely could be. And that's not all. The study found something else, too. People were quicker to give the AI credit for avoiding a crash than they were to blame it for causing one.
Really, so we're not just sharing responsibility, we're also, being nicer to the AI when things go well.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're giving it the benefit of the doubt.
Okay, so we've got this AI halo effect going on.
Yeah.
Interesting. Why do you think that is?
It's a good question. It definitely needs more research, but I wonder if it's because we're just kind of impressed by AI, even if we don't get how it works.
Yeah, that's true. It's easy to be impressed by it.
Like when it does things that seem almost magical, like recognizing faces or translating languages, it's easy to start thinking of it as more than just a machine.
Right, right. Okay, so that makes it even more important to figure out how these perceptions might be changing how we act and make decisions.
Absolutely.
Because if we're already giving AI more agency and responsibility than it really has, I mean, what happens when AI starts making even bigger decisions? Like in healthcare or finance or even national security?
Yeah, that's the heart of the matter, isn't it? And that's what makes this research so important right now, because it's not just about understanding how AI works.
It's about us.
It's about understanding ourselves, how we see AI and how we interact with it and how we'll eventually, share the world with it.
Wow, that's a lot to think about.
It's pretty fascinating, huh? This tendency we have, I mean, to think of AI as human, even when we know it's just code, algorithms, says a lot about how we see AI.
It really does.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense in a way. We're social creatures. We're always looking for some kind of intention. But if we apply that same logic to AI, it could be a slippery slope, especially as AI agents become more a part of our lives.
Totally agree. And this isn't just some, abstract idea. The iScience study shows that how we think about AI and responsibility, it actually has real consequences.
Oh, right. They did that follow-up experiment
Yeah.
where they replaced the AI assistant with just a warning light, like a normal car.
Right.
And people put all the blame on the driver.
Yeah.
No shared blame at all.
Exactly. So it's not just about any kind of assistance. It's specifically the AI that makes us want to share responsibility.
Huh. Okay, so we treat AI differently from other tools. That's pretty clear. But what about when AI agents start making decisions that have, like, real impact? In healthcare, finance, even military stuff.
That's when this whole responsibility question gets really serious. I mean, think about it. If we're already confused about responsibility with a simple driving AI, what happens when AI is making like life or death decisions?
Yeah, that's a little scary to think about.
Mm.
Are we headed towards a future where AI is calling the shots, but nobody's really accountable?
It's a valid concern, definitely. And it's something researchers and policymakers are trying to figure out. We need new frameworks for AI responsibility, ones that go beyond our current legal and ethical systems.
So where do we even begin with that? It's not like we can put an AI on trial or throw it in jail.
Nope, not quite. Traditional accountability just doesn't fit. But there are some interesting ideas out there. One is this thing called explainable AI. Basically, it means the AI can explain its decisions.
Makes sense. So if we can understand why it made a certain choice, we can better judge if it was acting responsibly.
Exactly. Transparency is key. Another idea is to have AI liability, kind of like how corporations can be held responsible for things.
Oh, interesting.
If an AI agent causes harm, maybe the company that made it should be held accountable.
Hmm. It's almost like we need a whole new legal system for AI,
Yeah.
one that recognizes how unique it is.
Yeah, that's exactly where things seem to be heading. We're in uncharted territory here. It's going to take a lot of creativity, collaboration to navigate this new world, a world where AI agents are, more and more in charge.
This conversation really makes it clear, like, we're at a crossroads. The decisions we make about AI responsibility now, they're going to shape the future of AI.
I totally agree. And as we move into this uncharted territory, it's not just about rules and regulations. It's about really understanding AI, its limitations, and its potential.
Right. We
Yeah.
can't just get caught up in the hype or the fear. We have to really grapple with the ethics of it all.
Excellent.
And that leads us to a big question. If we're already second-guessing AI's decisions in simple scenarios, how are we going to react when AI is making choices with much bigger consequences? That's something we'll continue to explore as we wrap up our deep dive into AI agents. As we're talking about this whole AI responsibility thing, it hits me that it's not just about the technology.
Yeah, there's definitely a philosophical side to it, too.
It really makes you think about what it means to be human,
Mhm.
to make choices and be held accountable for them.
It does. It really does. Like, think about that classic thought experiment, the trolley problem,
Oh, yeah.
where you have to decide to let the trolley hit 5 people or switch it to a track where it hits one person.
Right, right. Always a tough one.
So now imagine the switch is controlled by AI. How do we even begin to program an AI to make that kind of moral decision? And who's responsible if it, makes the wrong choice?
Yeah, that's where things get really complicated because we're talking about values and ethics and intuition,
Yeah.
things that even we struggle with. How do we teach that to an AI?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's not just about rules. It's about trying to give AI some kind of moral compass, trying to get it to understand human values and consequences.
And that brings us back to that idea of AI having agency. It's like we're asking if AI can really be independent, if it can actually have its own intentions, not just follow programming.
A question that's been around for ages, really. But AI is bringing it to the forefront.
And the research we talked about suggests that we're maybe already giving AI some level of agency in our minds. Even if we don't realize it, the way we act, sharing responsibility, it shows that we're starting to see these systems as more than just tools.
I see what you mean. And that's why this discussion about AI responsibility is so crucial. It's not just about keeping AI in check, it's about understanding how our relationship with machines is changing. And as AI gets more complex, that relationship is only going to get, well, more complicated.
It is exciting, but it's also a little bit scary, to be honest. We're talking about AI potentially solving huge problems, but also causing problems we haven't even thought of.
It's a double-edged sword, no doubt, which is why we need to be having these conversations now. We have to think about the ethical side of AI before it becomes so normal that we can't live without it.
We have to be proactive, think about the future we want with AI, acknowledge the good and the bad.
Couldn't agree more. This isn't about being afraid of AI or trying to stop progress. It's about developing AI responsibly, understanding what's at stake and making sure it's used for the right reasons.
I think that's a great place to wrap things up. Thanks so much for being here today and exploring the world of AI agents with us.
It's been my pleasure.
And to our listeners, we hope this deep dive has given you something to think about. The future of AI is really in our hands, and it's up to all of us to shape it in a way that benefits humanity. Until next time, keep exploring and keep asking questions.